Please note that this content is for adults only. Viewer discretion advised. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe, like, and share. Hello everyone and welcome back to another live stream with me, Grizzly K. This is Grizzly True Crime, and today we continue to look at the case of Madeline Kingsbury. There has been the criminal complaint has been released, or the probable cause affidavit, with lots of details that we're going to go through, and there's another press conference on the hour, so that's happening in about 40 minutes or so. Sonic Teal, welcome to membership. Let me just quickly catch up on some of them that I missed there. Thank you so much all for being here. Please hit the like and share so that whether it's Facebook or Twitter or Reddit or wherever you can, even on email helps as well, so that others will know that we are live right now. All right. Becky, thank you for being a member for 3 months. Really appreciate it. Welcome to all my moderators. Welcome to all my patrons. I hope you enjoyed the photos that I shared with you from Mr. Grizzly's trip to Japan, Fury. And also welcome to all my members, subscribers, and everyone. All right. So what we're going to start with is, well, I suppose, let's look at this. Then we're going to look at the document. All right. So if you don't know anything about this case, let me make myself a little smaller. If you know nothing about this case, in the description box, you will find part 1, part 2, and part 3. Part 1 and 2 were the deep dives. Part 3 is really, when I say watch number 3 here, it was the press conference from yesterday. So if you check that out, you'll get all caught up. I hope you will, because, man, it's another DV case. That's what we were speculating yesterday. This has the pattern of a DV case, and it is. Sadly, it is. Annie, welcome to membership. Let me just turn my screen down a bit. There we go. Welcome. Okay. So here we go. Let's quickly look at this. Then we'll look at the documents. Thank you to MB Inc. His name is Matt. His YouTube channel is called MB Inc. Okay, INC. For this heads up today. I would have missed it actually. I was like, wait, what? Not only is there another press conference, but the document's out. I've been waiting for this document because I'm like, when will they release it? When will they tell us what he's charged with? And now they've told us. Oh my word. Yorkie Mama, thank you for being a member for 5 months. So Adam Fravel, the ex-boyfriend of Madeline Kingsbury and father of her 2 children, had a history of threats and violence towards Kingsbury before he killed her and hid her body near his family's property in Mabel. New criminal charges allege. Prosecutors charged Fravel late Friday morning with 2 counts of second-degree murder in connection with Kingsbury's death. Now, I know the first question you're going to ask is, why second-degree murder? Why that? Why not showing premeditation and all that, right? My answer would be, my guess would be, probably because it's easier to prove. Because they don't need to prosecute this guy, on my word. But we'll get into the details and then you let me know what you think. Fun and funky, welcome to membership. Okay, so they say prosecutors, yes, charged Fravel, just to recap, with 2 counts of second-degree murder in connection with Kingsbury's death. Kingsbury had been missing for nearly 70 days, it was 69 days, before her body was discovered Wednesday in a wooded area off a gravel road near the town of Mabel. And in part 1, we did some map time and we speculated, wait, they were saying on Facebook his dad lives in Mabel, so he probably went to Fillmore County and Mabel and then back home. Well, it seems like he actually went from home down to Mabel, and he really did. Indeed, he went to his parents' house. Oh, my word. Okay, we'll get into it. And we'll look at the map again. Kingsbury had been missing for nearly 70 days before her body was discovered Wednesday, okay, in a wooded area off a gravel road, so remember all that, near the town of Mabel. Fravel was arrested hours later, about 4 hours later, without incident, according to authorities. According to the criminal complaint, Fravel and Kingsbury met in college and had an on-again, off-again relationship for 7 years, Fravel told investigators. Fravel and Kingsbury had 2 children, ages 2 and 5. Oh, man, I feel so bad for those kids. Oh, my word. And everyone, all of for Madeline and for her friends and family who were sobbing in court yesterday at the press conference when they confirmed it was her remains found. So if you missed that press conference, go and check that out. They didn't answer the question of, a question about do you think her body had been moved? They they didn't really answer that question, which is quite interesting. I wouldn't put it past this dude, honestly. Natalie, oh, welcome to membership. Oh, Anita, absolutely. He ran to mommy and daddy. This is like the patterns we see a lot in lots of cases we've covered on this channel. I like to raise awareness about DV, coercive control, DV, stalking, harassment, and the dangers of it as well. And this is one of those. It's another one of those cases, and wait till you hear everything that he said. Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. Just moving things a bit. I just want to move the advert. There you go. That's a bit better. Okay, so then they say, and Kingsbury was the primary provider for the family. So we see this so much. Oh my word. He's like the freaking maggot sitting at home, Oh my word. She's the primary provider for the family, Fravel said. In the days leading up to Kingsbury's disappearance, the two had separated and were in the process of moving out of their Winona home. After Kingsbury went missing, law enforcement told Fravel they'd received a concerned person's report that Fravel told Kingsbury that if she did not listen up, that she would end up like Gabby Petito, the complaint states. Fravel admitted being infatuated. That's the word he used. Infatuated with the Gabby Petito case. Charges read. Fravel also admitted that he made a statement to Madeline about her ending up like Gabby Petito. So I can see, here they're just going over what we're going to go over already, okay, in the criminal complaint. I just wanted to give you an overview of what we're looking at. Madeline Kingsbury was last seen on... Oh, let me just take this guy's face off here. Oh, my goodness. On March 31st. And as we can hear, Madeline Kingsbury was dating Adam Fravel for about, on and off, they say, for 7 years. And we can imagine what the on and off's about. On average, someone in a DV relationship will try to leave 7 times before they leave successfully, or sometimes it ends up like this before their lives are taken. That's the stats. It's very scary. So the on again, off again that he's describing, we can only imagine what that's about. Remember, the distress signal for DV is this. So if you see someone doing this, I saw a story today where they said someone was mouthing "help me" to a cop, and actually their life was saved. A distress signal. This is a DV distress signal, but I know some people also show this as a distress signal. So if you're in a situation where you need help and you use that, it could save your life. Or if you see someone doing that, please call the police. Okay, always try to remind us to remember that, because we need to share that far and wide. So the thing is, on and off for 7 years, and then on March 31st, she was taking her kids to daycare, age 2 and 5, and he decided, he's going to be the knight in shining armor and go along that day. He's going along with her that day. He did do that sometimes, apparently, from everything I've read and heard, but not often. That day, he is tagging along, which I think is alibi talk, right? He's like, let me go with it and wave at everyone. They'll see me, because everyone confirms. Some of the teachers, they confirm, yeah, he was there. But he picked the kids up by himself later. Now, that was around 8 o'clock in the morning on March 31st. At around 10-ish, he took her car for a drive. And we're going to look at that, okay? So, welcome to the stream. If you're only joining now, we're going to go through the criminal complaint. We've just looked at the charges of Adam Fravel. Finally, he's been arrested. We could say finally, because this was always a red flag fiesta, right? Like from day one, it's one of those where we're like, oh, we know. We can't really say, but we know. And now we can see, oh, damn, look what he's been charged with. So, yes. Okay, now where the hell did that document go? Where'd you go? Document? Okay, wait for it. Hello. There it is. Okay. I'm just going to put that there. Oh, it wants me to sign in. Oh, my word. So annoying. Okay, stand by. So annoying when you reset things. Don't worry. We're going to get to it immediately. We've got it right here. Okay, wait. Let's not show my whole email. Stand by, please. I am just going to go to MB Inc. to Matt's post that he made on Twitter. Oh my word. Yesterday we also saw him trying to chase away people who were looking for Madeline. Wow. Yes, Shannon says we all hoped it wouldn't, but we knew, right? Sure. Okay. Just wait 1 second, please. I'm so sorry for this delay. Just give me 1 second. I'm just quickly going to find it here. I've just retweeted it as well. Okay, here we go. I'm going to bring this over here. Okay. Freaking Adobe. Yes, He will be grounded. I'm not T-Pain. He will be so grounded. And now it's Adobe today messing with me. Okay, we're all good. We're all good. We are strong. Let's go. So let's look at some of these. Let me open this one. Very nice. Matt saves the day once again. So, again, let's just keep an eye on the time. Half an hour until the press conference. All right, so here we go. They say State of Minnesota plaintiff versus Adam Taylor Fravel. Defendant. The complainant submits this complaint to the court and states that there is probable cause to believe the defendant committed the following offenses. Count 1. The charge is murder in the second degree, Minnesota statute. We actually looked at that statute yesterday, 609-1911, with reference to 609-19.1. So go check that out it's at the end of the stream from yesterday. Okay, and yes, Chopper says, so second degree would make DV seek very likely. Exactly. So then the next one is, so count 1, murder in the second degree. We've got the statute there. Maximum sentence, 40 years in prison. Offense level, felony. Offense date on or about the 31st of March, which was that very day we just talked about. And they say charge description that on or about March 31st, 2023, in Winona County, Minnesota, Adam Taylor Fravel caused the death of a human being with intent to effect the death of that person or another, but without premeditation. And count 2 is charge in the second degree, Minnesota statute 609-1921, with reference to 609-1921, maximum sentence 40 years in prison, offense level felony, offense date on or about the 31st of March as well, 2023. This one says that on or about March 31st, 2023, let me move it up for you guys, wait. It's looking a little low. I just want to move it up so you can see it nicely. There we go. Okay. That on or about March 31st, 2023, in Winona County, Minnesota, Adam Taylor Fravel caused the death of a human being without intent to effect the death of any person while committing or attempting to commit a felony offense other than criminal sexual conduct in the first or second degree with force or violence or drive-by shooting. Interesting. I'm going to need a lawyer to help me break all those down, or we'll look at the statutes again. But for now, let's just keep on going. So that would be page 1. Then, look at this. There's so much detail here. Oh my word. I was like reading this just now, like what? Yes, Humphrey said be careful on dating apps. Exactly. Be careful on dating apps. And please everyone remember that as much as this is an absolute red flag fiesta, as we say, right? He is innocent or proven guilty in a court of law. We're just looking at his charges today and the statement of probable cause. So they say on March 31st, 2023, at approximately 8:20 p.m., the Winona Police Department was contacted by a person who identified herself as a friend of Madeline Jane Kingsbury. The friend reported to police that she was concerned with the health and safety of Madeline. According to the friend, Madeline had not attempted to contact or communicate with her throughout the day, which the friend indicated was unusual. The friend was concerned and had gone to Madeline's residence, saw her minivan in the driveway and knocked on the door, and no one responded. The friend also told police that she was aware that Madeline was having issues with her significant other, who also lived at the residence. The friend identified the significant other as Adam Fravel. Winona police officers met the friend at Madeline's residence located in Winona County, Minnesota. An officer knocked on the door of the residence and looked into the windows. No one responded, and the officer did not see anyone inside. Shortly thereafter, officers spoke with Madeline's father on the telephone and learned that her family had also not had contact with her that day. The father reported that it was uncharacteristic for Madeline not to have contact with family members or friends. A Winona police officer spoke with Adam Taylor Fravel. Date of birth 1/29/94 by telephone. According to Fravel, he had not heard from Madeline since early in the morning that she was supposed to pick up their children at their Winona daycare after she finished working, but she did not. Fravel stated that he picked up the children at daycare and took them to his parents' residence in Mabel. So yes, and that would be probably trip number 2. Because we know that between 10 in the morning and 1:30, he already took a trip around. And that could have been from Fillmore County to Mabel and back up. And then later, coming back down. We'll see now with the route that they say. Okay. I'm just checking your comments here and there. I glance, but I'm mostly focused here. Thank you so much all for being here. I really appreciate it. We are waiting for the press conference, which is going to happen in 25 minutes, which I'm sure they'll tell us now again about all of this and the charges. Because yesterday they said they don't want to talk about the charges yet. Okay, so then they say later that evening, officers were able to conduct a welfare check inside the Winona residence and determined that no one was inside the residence. Law enforcement investigators have spoken with the children's daycare provider who confirmed that both Madeline and Fravel were present when they dropped their children off at daycare on the morning of March 31st, 2023, at approximately 8:05 a.m. The daycare provider also stated that Fravel was alone when he picked the children up at the end of the day. Okay. There's no others that have been charged at this point, no. And we don't even know. They probably didn't know, They probably didn't know. But this is the only person so far, yes, who's been arrested and facing charges. So this will be a trial I would also like to follow, right? Okay. Maybe you will too. So off we go. I lost my place for a second there. Wait. Okay, yes. On April 1st, 2023, law enforcement investigators obtained obtained a search warrant for the Madeline Fravel residence in Winona. Let me just move it up. That's better. The interior of the residence was cluttered, but there did not appear to be overt signs of a struggle. During the search, law enforcement officers located what investigators later determined to be Madeline's cell phone, jacket, and purse in the residence. So that was already a red flag. Investigators also located a laptop computer that investigators later determined Madeline used to work from home. Investigators later obtained access to the cell phone's databases. It was determined that a text message was sent from the cell phone to Madeline's sister on March 31st, 2023 at 8:15 a.m. Investigators noted that there was no subsequent text messages or phone calls sent from Madeline's cell phone. I believe we looked at that in episode 1, in part 1, which is in the description box. It was a very light-hearted message, just, between sisters, normal at that point, right? Sharon says, yes, another trial to watch. Hope they let us. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Van. Yes, check out my second channel. Yes. And Java Junkie says, I love how supportive this channel is. You all are awesome. Okay, and so we continue on. So then they say law enforcement investigators had follow-up conversations with Adam Fravel on April 1st and 2nd, 2023. During these conversations, Fravel told investigators that he had met Madeline at college in Winona, and they had an on and off again relationship for the past 7 years. Fravel stated that they have 2 children ages 5 and 2. Fravel indicated that Madeline worked from home and in Rochester, Minnesota. Hope I said that right. Fravel stated Madeline would generally travel to Rochester for work on Mondays and Fridays, and Fravel acknowledged that Madeline was the primary income producer for the family, and she would forward him money electronically to pay the family bills. Fravel acknowledged that recently their relationship was not working, so they decided to separate and were in the process of moving out of their Winona residence. He was set to move out that day, you guys. Oh my gosh. Sure. So, yes, Madeline had been looking at different apartments in the area, which we also saw on her Facebook posts and things like that from part 1, for her and the children to live in. Fravel indicated that about 2 weeks ago, Madeline had told him that she had begun a relationship with another man, but that he did not know how long the relationship had been going on. Fravel stated that on Friday, March 31st, 2023, together he and Madeline dropped their children at daycare around 8 a.m. and they drove home. Once they arrived, Madeline stated that she had an online meeting and afterwards was going to Rochester for work. He indicated he observed Madeline go downstairs to her home office. Yes, that's his story. Paula, no, I don't think he had a job. I believe they said he was a software engineer of sorts. And he was posing with an airplane before, and people are speculating that he could have had his PPL. I'm not so sure. Private pilot's license, right? Okay, so we're going to the next page. I just quickly want to check the time. It's 8:39 my time. Sorry, that's Netherlands time. Hi, I'm South African in the Netherlands. So 8:39 my time, meaning in the next 20 minutes, the press conference will be happening. Someone's telling me the Glarer's in chat. Welcome to the Glarer. Nice to see you in chat. welcome. Yeah, there we go. Now I can see it. Sorry, it's a little delayed over here for me. Okay, so now let's look at this next page. Okay, sorry, I'm going to move it down for you again. Also, during the conversations, Fravel stated that he had planned to do proper... Now, here comes... I smell a bit of BS here, right? Innocent or proven guilty, yes, okay. Fravel stated that he had planned to do property storage runs most of the day. His plan was to travel to his parents' home near Mabel in Minnesota with items that he wanted to store at his parents' residence and return to Winona and take items to Midwest Storage located in Winona. Fravel indicated that prior to leaving for Mabel, he had stopped at a gas station near his Winona residence. He said that when he loaded up Madeline's van, he wasn't really paying attention to what he was loading. Fravel believed that he left his residence and began driving the van to Mabel at approximately 10:15 a.m. Fravel continued with the following information. Fravel stated that when he got to Choice, an area in Fillmore County, he started thinking about what he was going to do. This guy, oh my word. He said he looked to the rear in the van and realized that the items he had weren't meant to be stored at the storage unit, not at his parents' place. He then turned around in the driveway of a barn in Choice and drove back to his residence in Winona. Fravel believed he arrived at the residence at about 11:30 a.m. and emptied the van at the Madeline or Fravel residence. So he loads up the van. He's driving, he's driving to Mabel. When he gets to Choice, which is not far from his parents' house, he's like, you know what? The stuff in my van is so not what needs to be in storage. Let me turn around, go back home, and offload all of this. I'm like, what? Okay, Kelly says her sister said on TikTok that he did not have a job at the time. Yes, if you haven't seen her TikToks, sometimes it's hard to put a link of TikTok in the chat. I will put it there, but sometimes with YouTube, you know how they do the handles now? It thinks it's a YouTube handle, but I will try to put her TikTok link in the chat so you can catch up there as well. All right, so continuing on. Oh, my word. So he's just like, wow, I had to turn around. Okay, so Fravel believed he arrived at the residence at about 11:30 a.m. and emptied the van at the Madeline Fravel residence. Fravel stated that he did not make any stops on his trip to and from Choice. When he entered the residence, he did not see Madeline. He stated he did notice his car was still at home and thought, oh my word, that Madeline may have carpooled to Rochester. Yeah, like it's normal taking her van for this drive, right? Oh my word. Fravel stated that he remained at the residence for the remainder of the afternoon. During this time, he texted Madeline, but he never got a response. Eventually, he went downstairs and Madeline was not there. Okay then. He stated that he texted Madeline regarding picking up the kids and asked about plans for supper. When she did not respond, he decided to pick up the children at daycare and drive them to his parents' residence in Mabel. Yes, Paula says another genius, everyone. This, we just got to wait for those Google searches. And did he go to Walmart, right? Also, during their conversations with Fravel, law enforcement disclosed to Fravel a concerned person's report that Fravel told Madeline that if she did not listen up, that she would end up like Gabby Petito. Fravel admitted being infatuated with the Gabby Petito case. Fravel also admitted that he had made a statement to Madeline about her ending up like Gabby Petito. Wow. Amy Ellison, welcome to membership. Alina says, love your snark. Well, wait till we do a member stream soon. It's this weekend probably, because we might have to do a layer 2 of snarking this stuff up, right? This guy is, oh my word. Okay. So moving on, infatuated with the Gabby Petito case. Imagine being so low, allegedly, that you want to be just like Brian Laundrie. Oh my word. Okay, moving on. Let's see the time. Okay, we've still got just over 15 minutes, 17 minutes until the press conference. And sometimes they're late, so maybe we've got a few more minutes, right? Yes, Bat Cactus says, listen up. Oh yes, wait till you see the text messages. We're going to get to it now. Sure. Okay, if you're only joining the stream now, I hope you'll go back and watch the replay from the beginning later so that you can catch up on all this, because there's so many details in this criminal complaint here, the probable cause that they're listing here. Wow. So Fravel claimed that he was trying to make a joke. The Gabby Petito case made national news. It was the story of a 22-year-old woman who went missing. After extensive searches, Petito's remains were found near a park in Wyoming. It was reported that Petito died of strangulation. The media also reported that Petito's fiancé claimed responsibility for her death in a notebook. So I'm sure there's more to the story, right? Investigating officers spoke with a friend of Madeline who indicated that sometime in 2020 or 2021, she was on a video call with Madeline, who was at her Winona residence. Okay, so I'm going to say trigger warning. This case does, now they're going to be talking about DV. Okay, so trigger warning for, there's a lot of DV survivors in chat. So I'm just letting you know that we're going to be looking at this topic now in this. Okay, so here we go. So they say this. Sometime in 2020 or 2021, she was on a video call with Madeline, who was at her Winona residence. Madeline was standing up, holding one of her children and cooking dinner. The friend observed Fravel enter the room and yell at Madeline to keep quiet. Madeline asked Fravel to calm down, and he stated he was not going to calm down and struck Madeline in the face with his hand. It appeared that Fravel was not aware that he was being observed on the video call, as when the friend yelled at Fravel over the video call, he immediately left the room. The friend told investigators that there were several times during video calls that she observed bruises on Madeline's face. When the friend inquired about the bruises, Madeline would cover them with her sweater. This is so sad. So thank you, yes, for sharing the purple hearts for DV awareness in the stream. Purple ribbons, purple hearts. And if you also want to share blue hearts, I'm wearing this necklace which I bought for Gannon, in honor of Gannon, because his favorite color was blue. In this case, they also have blue light bulbs for Madeline. They say, keep your lights on. Please keep sharing blue hearts. So you can also share blue hearts for Madeline. Yes. Sonic Teal, thank you so much for your $2 super chat. Yes. Okay, so let's continue on here. The investigators spoke with a family member of Madeline's. During that conversation, the family member discussed an earlier incident. The family member said she learned Fravel put his hands around Madeline's throat. Now, as you guys know, I recently did a course on DV stalking harassment, right? And in it, I learned a lot of stats and a lot of things. And Laura Richards said that if someone puts their hands around your neck, it will never de-escalate from there. Like, it's really only going to get worse from there. That is extremely threatening, high-risk behavior. I mean, DV itself is already high risk, right? But if they put their hands around your neck, right? So here they're talking about that risk. Okay, so they say, during that conversation, the family member discussed an earlier incident. The family member said she learned that Fravel put his hands around Madeline's throat. The family member went with another person to go get Madeline. The family member noted Madeline had a red mark on the side of her neck that day. Sylvia Johnston, welcome to membership. Yes. Text message, Gannon was a victim of DV2. We speculate, right? We don't know what all happened leading up to that, but yes. Sure. Okay, so then, pursuant to search warrants and, investigating officers conducted forensic extractions on 2 Apple iPhones believed to belong to Madeline. A review of the forensic extractions of those 2 phones revealed Kingsbury as the owner and user. There were messages as well as screenshots of messages between Madeline and Fravel, dating back numerous years. One screenshot taken on September 21st, 2021, contained the following iMessage. Does that date sound familiar, you guys? Alina says, oh, my word, Giza, funny AF, you make my day sometimes. Okay, I'm not trying to be too funny. This is a very serious topic, but I'm glad I make your day. And thank you so much for your sticker. I really, really appreciate it. But yeah, we can eye roll some of the stuff, on my word. Right, so they say this. Screenshot, September 21st, 2021. He's Maddie. Okay, Maddie says, you know, I'm not really okay with or over the fact that you put your hand around my neck and pushed me down in front of the kids earlier, so don't. Maddie, not okay with it all, but especially with them there. Fravel responds, you'll adjust. Maddie responds, and excuse my French, I'm going to read it as it is. The fuck I will. Maddie then says, you do that again without asking me and you can go somewhere else. And he responds, you got it, mother. She says, don't patronize me, that crossed a line. He says, then mind. And she said, stop. This guy really is a piece of work. Law enforcement investigators were able to obtain videos from security cameras and motion detection videos devices at multiple residences and businesses located in the Winona neighborhood where Madeline Kingsbury and Adam Fravel resided, and along the route Fravel stated that he took towards his parents' residence on the morning of March 31st, 2023. The videos reveal the following events from March 31st, 2023. We've got 11 minutes to the press conference. 9:44 a.m. Madeline's van is observed. Remember, her last text was at 8:15 a.m., right? 9:44 a.m. Madeline's van is observed in the driveway of the Madeline Fravel residence in Winona. A person in a light-colored coat is observed walking up to the front of the van, bends over, and appears to remove the front license plate on the van. 9:47 a.m. The van is still in the driveway, and the same person is observed kneeling in front of the van and appears to be reinstalling a license plate. 9:55 a.m. A person wearing a light-colored coat or sweatshirt gets into Madeline's van while it's parked in the driveway of the Madeline Fravel residence in Winona. 10 a.m. The van is no longer at the residence. 10:02 a.m. The van is observed parked at the gas station where Fravel said he had gotten gas, and a person wearing a light-colored jacket and matching the general description of Adam Fravel is observed pumping gas. Investigators also noted that the license plate on the van matches the license plate registered to the car that Fravel normally drives and not the plate registered to the van. Investigating officers noted that when they observed the van later in the evening on March 31st and on April 1st, 2023, the license plates registered to the van were back on the van. I thought he's so smart, this guy. Oh man, 10:31 a.m. The van is observed backed into the driveway at the Madeline Fravel residence in Winona. 11:26, the van's observed driving away from the residence. 11:44 a.m. A van matching the description of Madeline's van is observed traveling southbound on Highway 43 in the direction of Rushford and Mabel. 11:59 a.m. A van matching the description of Madeline's van is observed traveling southbound on Highway 43, south of Rushford and in the direction of Choice and Mabel, Minnesota. 12:44 p.m. Approximately 45 minutes later, a van matching the description of Madeline's van is observed on a video from the same location traveling northbound on Highway 43 in the direction of Rushford and Winona. 12:47 p.m. A van matching the description of Madeline's van is observed traveling northbound on... Let's go to the next batch here. Highway 43 in Rushford. 1 p.m. A van matching the description of Madeline's van is observed traveling northbound on Highway 43 and turned east onto Winona County Road 12 in the direction of Winona. Okay, northbound, going east onto Winona County Road 12 in the direction of Winona. At 1:28 p.m., a van matching the description of Madeline's van is observed in the driveway of her Winona residence. As part of the investigation, law enforcement officers traveled the route. I know you guys say route. We say route in South Africa, so bear with me. Traveled the route Fravel stated he drove on the morning of March 31st, 2023. Investigators noted that with the exception of the 45-minute time period between the time he's observed traveling south of Rushford on Highway 43 and later at the same location traveling northbound on Highway 43, the times are consistent with normal expected travel times between the locations. On June 7, 2023, a deputy with the Fillmore County Sheriff's Office was searching a rural area in Fillmore County next to a public gravel road, approximately 1 mile from Highway 43 between Choice and Mabel, Minnesota. Investigating officers learned that this property had been, and here we go, we were speculating this yesterday, was because it was on Facebook, didn't one of his family members live there or own it or work there or something, right? But here they say, investigators officers learned that this property had been routinely maintained by one or more Fravel family members. This property was also near the residence of Fravel's parents. While searching the property, the deputy located human remains in a culvert adjoining the gravel road. The remains had been wrapped in what appeared to be a gray-fitted bedsheet that had been closed with black Gorilla Tape. Investigators noted that during a previous search of the Madeline Fravel Winona residence, they observed a roll of black Gorilla Tape that appears to be the same color and width as the tape found on the fitted sheet that Madeline was wrapped in. Investigators also noted that the gray-fitted sheet appears to be similar to other bedding at the Winona residence. Additionally, the air mattress from the Winona residence was missing a fitted sheet. That just reminds me of Chris Watts, right? Remember when he's like, Chris Watts was like, wait, what? There's no bedding on the bed. Where did that go? Like, the officers are like, well, and they say here, look there, they say that there was missing a fitted sheet, and on top of the air mattress, without a fitted sheet, were pillows that had grey pillowcases. So they're like, okay, so the air mattress there's grey pillowcases, but there's no sheet. Oh, man. Yes. Carol Clark says they get caught more often than not. Not the brightest slug. Yeah, gorilla tape. Yeah. The human remains were transferred to the Southern Minnesota Regional Medical Examiner's Office in Rochester, Minnesota. The medical examiner's office identified the human remains as Madeline Jane Kingsbury from dental records and tattoos. The medical examiner noted that a knotted towel had been wrapped around Madeline's head and neck. The medical examiner's office performed an autopsy. A preliminary autopsy report determined the manner and cause of death as homicide and homicidal violence. Please take notice. Pursuant to Minnesota Statute 60949, intentional failure to appear for duly scheduled court appearances may result in additional criminal charges and in addition to any arrest warrant that may otherwise be issued in the court. So he's due in court now before this press conference where he's going to be arraigned, right? April Gooden says, so happy he didn't physically harm the children. Yeah, good point, April. Thank you so much for being a member for a month. Yeah, Trigger Bunny. Okay, so let's just see. There's another page, I think, which is just this one. The complainant requests the defendant, subject to bail or conditions of release, be arrested or that other lawful steps be taken to obtain the defendant's appearance in court. Ooh, gotta look at the time, 4 minutes. Or 2, detained if already in custody, pending further proceedings, and that said defendant otherwise be dealt with according to the law. The complainant declares under penalty or perjury that everything stated in this document is true and correct, and we got all that signed there. Order of detention, and I think they said it's a $1 million bond. Let's just see. Okay, so order of detention. Since the defendant is already in custody, our order subject to bail or conditions of release, the defendant continue to be detained pending further proceedings. They didn't put the bail amount here now, but I saw in an article, which we can look at in a moment. They say defendant fact sheet, Adam Taylor Fravel, date of birth 1/29/94, and yeah, male. We've seen his picture as well. If you didn't, here's his mugshot. Wait, mugshot time. So yes, we've got that. Okay, let's try to find the press conference. So just give me 1 second. Okay. I'm just quickly looking. I'm looking for the press conference links quickly. We've got a few. Okay, and I also just want to quickly go onto YouTube here. Sorry for leaving him on the screen, but there he is. Okay, I just want to quickly go Madeline Kingsbury. I just tried to have like links open everywhere, you know, so that in case we can see which one works best. Okay, let's go like this. I'm sure they said earlier there was a $1 million bond. Let's just go, if watching on the ABC News app, click here. Is this live? What's going on here? Wow, okay. We've got some Dutch adverts. Sorry about that. Yes, so they say Winona County attorneys on Friday are scheduled to discuss the charges. Yes, okay, cool. We've got that. There we go. Adam Fravel's bail is set at $1 million with conditions. Complaint details, 2 months search. $1 million bail. Okay, let me quickly go. Where's that Facebook link? I had it open. Hold on. Sorry about that. Come on, Facebook. We're going to find that because normally it's there. Winona Police Department. Winona. Sorry about it. Okay, it's live here. Here we go. And we're going to boost it. What are they doing now? It was live. Maybe it was a test. Come on, Winona. Okay, let me show you this post quickly. So, let me just resize. They say, Adam Fravel will appear in court this morning to face charges in the death of Madeline Kingsbury. The court proceedings will be held over Zoom. Information about specific charges and bail will be available after the proceedings are finished. There will also be a news conference to discuss this important step at 2 p.m. Okay, so we've also got this open. Always got backups, right? I just want to make sure, because sometimes Facebook is better. It's better. Oh, they started a new one. Yeah, okay. Keep that one over there. You know what? This one is outside, so that's not good. Let's go to this one, which is inside. All right. Oh, I can already hear the sound is terrible. I boosted it so far. So, here we go. Sound on. Boost on. It's just so weird. These ones are inside, and the one on the Facebook page with the police is outside.
This case. This includes Special Assistant Winona County Attorney Fravel Probable, who I have hired to lead our prosecution team. Mr. Probable is retired from the Dakota County Attorney's Office, where he served many, many years as the Chief Deputy in the Criminal Division. My team and I are committed to seeking justice for Maddie and her family. We have charged Mr. Fravel with second-degree intentional murder and second-degree unintentional murder. Some of you may be wondering why my office did not charge first-degree murder against Mr. Fravel at this time. Let me explain the law in Minnesota. In order to charge first-degree murder, a prosecutor must present the case before a grand jury, and the grand jury decides whether there is probable cause to support an indictment for first-degree murder. Because this case remains an active and ongoing law enforcement investigation, we may seek additional charges in the future. At this time, it's my understanding that Mr. Fravel remains in custody. The judge this morning set his bail at $2 million unconditional and $1 million conditional. His next court appearance is scheduled for July 20th, 2023 at 1:45 p.m. We know many of you are concerned for the well-being of Maddie's two children. They remain in Maddie's father's care and will stay there for the time being. The child protection case that my office is also handling remains open and active. A determination in that CHIPS or child protection matter will be made at a later date. We have heard from so many individuals how wonderful a person Maddie was. She had a bright future, and Mr. Fravel took that from her by charging him today with her murder. We intend to hold him accountable to the fullest extent of the law. Thank you.
That ends the prepared statements. We're ready to take some questions again with that caveat that there are some things we just won't be able to share. So if you have a question, feel free to shout it out.
And Ms. Sonneman, how do you think Maddie was killed?
At this time, I can only say that the investigation is ongoing and active, so I'm not going to make any comment about that at this time.
Mr. Fravel, as played out, will he be able to see his children? Can you explain kind of how these two cases will work together?
Yes, a good question. There's also a family court custody case going on as well, which is, so there's really 3 proceedings. But in the child protection case, there were certain conditions in that case also where Mr. Fravel could have supervised and secure visitation with his children, meaning in a secure site, under observation, basically. If he bails out, the court allowed him to continue to have that supervision under those conditions were in the child protection case.
You plan on asking that to be revoked, though?
There is a later hearing in the child protection case, and I can't comment at this time on that, but all options are open.
Can you explain why there are 2 separate second-degree murder charges? What are the difference and how is that going to be a factor?
There are two charges because one is called intentional murder and the other is unintentional murder. And at this time, as I explained, we can't charge murder, but we can charge 2, and based on the evidence that we felt we could prove with certainty from our perspective beyond a reasonable doubt, those are the most serious charges we can charge now. The difference between those is that cause the death of a person. The other is that their actions unintentionally cause the death of a person.
Can you go into detail about the more depth about the difference between intentional and unintentional?
I would refer you to the Minnesota statutes, but it's basically just that a person had the intent to cause the death of another individual and took such actions that were intentional, and the result is that their actions unintentionally caused the death of the person.
Can you go into detail about the more depth about the difference between intentional and unintentional?
Well, I would refer you to the Minnesota statutes, but it's basically just that a person had the intent to cause the death of another individual and took such actions that were intentional, and the result was that person was killed. Unintentional is just as it really states, that actions were taken and that person didn't really mean to have that, whatever the actions they did, they didn't really want it to result in a death, but it did.
Was Maddie abused? You talk about during the Zoom hearing, your special prosecutor told the judge about Fravel mocking officers, making flippant comments. Could you shed a little bit more light on some of those interactions?
I won't go into great detail, but what he was referring to was when as part of the child protection proceeding, the children were, he had the children, and as you can, if you've read the complaint, and please read the complaint because it's very detailed, it'll answer a lot of your questions. But as we put in the complaint, he went and took the children from the daycare and brought them to his parents' house. So at the time the child protection case was initiated, the children were with him in his parents' house in Mabel, Minnesota. And so part of the child protection case was that Winona County was taking custody of those children, and And so social workers and law enforcement went to secure the children, and that's where some of those behaviors were exhibited by Mr. Fravel.
Was Maddie controlled?
Just a second. Here. She's. Go ahead. You're,
Sure. In the
yeah.
press conference yesterday, you mentioned digital evidence that helped you locate Maddie's body. Is that the video footage that was outlined in the complaint, or was this something different? And so can you describe a little more as to what you
Well, and I think I didn't say that, Chief Williams did.
Sure, sorry. I see him standing there.
Yeah, but at this time, again, I can only say that this is an ongoing and active law enforcement investigation, and we have just started our prosecution. So
There are instances in the complaint that refer to this. Was Maddie controlled and abused during their relationship by Adam Fravel?
again, our case is ongoing as far as law enforcement investigation, and what's in the complaint is what's in the complaint. And again, this is just the beginning of this case, and there's more investigation to do. But there may be additional charges, but again, first-degree murder can only be obtained through a grand jury proceeding.
Well, what happens after July 20th?
It depends on what happens on July 20th. So, okay, so.
Any
Time for a couple more.
you can share?
In the complaint, it mentions that someone matched Adam Fravel's description was mentioned the license plates on Adam's van. Can you confirm this was him? And was he switching? What was he doing with the license plate?
As the complaint indicates, we stated it was an individual that was observed changing license plates, and those are the type of issues that we would want to identify if this case goes to trial. So,
Did he go straight to the spot where the body was eventually found, or did he go to the farm first? There's an unaccounted for 45 minutes, it says.
again, our case and law enforcement is an ongoing investigation. It's still active, and those are issues that I can't comment on now.
Did additional charges come out of Fillmore County in terms of possibly moving the body, concealing it?
I'm sorry, what?
Additional charges in Fillmore County?
Again, this is an ongoing investigation. I'm sorry I keep having to say that, but I don't want to compromise the integrity of either the law enforcement investigation or our prosecution case.
And that is
Thank
all
you.
we have time for today. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
do want to clarify, though, Lou, to your question, it's in the charging document, but the medical examiner's office did rule that the manner of death was homicidal violence. So it is in the charging documents if you have read those. If you haven't, I highly suggest that you do. It adds a lot of context as to why these charges were presented and some more context to the case as well. And just for myself on a personal note, I want to thank you all for being out here. I know for many of you, it's a decent drive to get out here to Winona, and we really appreciate your continued coverage of this case. It has made a really big difference in keeping up the confidence and the spirits of the community as we continue to work through what is a really difficult case and prosecution and ongoing investigation, as we've said. So thank you again so much all for being here.
Yes, thank you all.
I just want to go back quickly.
County Attorney Karen Sonneman. She will offer some prepared remarks, and then we will have time for questions at the end. But as always, I do need to offer the caveat that this is an on.
Okay, you guys, this was nice and short, right? You agree? Can we watch it again one more time? It's not going to be long. Let's just watch it because the sound, oh my word, the police feed there on Winona Police Department was terrible. Okay, so let's quickly listen to this again.
Ongoing and active investigation. The prosecution is also just beginning, so there are some things we will not be able to discuss today, and we do ask that you respect and understand that as we get into the question portion of today's news conference. In the meantime, I'd like to invite up the county attorney.
Good afternoon. I'm Winona County Attorney Karen Sonneman, and I'm here today to announce my office filed charges against Adam Taylor Fravel for the murder of Madeline Kingsbury. Behind me is the team from my office and some law enforcement, but the team from my office that I have assembled to prosecute this case. This includes Special Assistant Winona County Attorney Fravel Probable, who I have hired to lead our prosecution team, Mr. Prokopowicz is retired from the Dakota County Attorney's Office, where he served many, many years as the Chief Deputy in the Criminal Division. My team and I are committed to seeking justice for Maddie and her family. We have charged Mr. Fravel with second-degree intentional murder and second-degree unintentional murder.
Let's pause that for a second. Now we can pause and talk, which is actually quite nice, right? We watch it ×2. So Papa Bear said earlier, they probably put in intentional and unintentional, so all bases are covered. Once all evidence is found or done, they can drop the unintentional if it's not accurate. I really hope that he won't be able to bail out, and if he does, wow, that's very dangerous. That's very dangerous time. We'll discuss that more in a moment. Let's just listen a bit more.
Some of you may be wondering why my office did not charge first-degree murder against Mr. Fravel at this time. Let me explain the law in Minnesota. In order to charge first-degree murder, a prosecutor must present the case before a grand jury, and the grand jury decides whether there is probable cause to support an indictment for first-degree murder. Because this case remains an active and ongoing law enforcement investigation, we may seek additional charges in the future. At this time, it's my understanding that Mr. Fravel remains in custody. The judge this morning set his bail at $2 million.
Now they're saying $2 million. I think we read like $1 million, right? But $2 million, okay. And I also wanted to say, when they talk about additional charges, what I would speculate would be possibly moving the body, right? It could be. That's what was. They didn't really want to answer that yesterday. So if they can prove that he did that, that will be interesting as well. You know, tampering with a deceased person. Thank you so much, Kay. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. You guys, thank you so much. Yesterday we hit that milestone, so really appreciate you all being here.
Unconditional and $1 million conditional. His next court appearance is scheduled for July 20th, 2023 at 1:45 p.m. We know many of you are concerned for the well-being of Maddie's 2 children. They remain in Maddie's father's care and will stay there for the time being. The child protection case that my office is also handling remains open and active. A determination in that CHIPS or child protection matter will be made at a later date. We have heard from so many individuals how wonderful a person Maddie was. She had a bright future, and Mr. Fravel took that from her. By charging him today with her murder, we intend to hold him accountable to the fullest extent of the law. Thank you.
That ends the prepared statements. We're ready to take some questions again with that caveat that there are some things we just won't be able to share. So if you have a question, feel free to shout it out.
And Ms. Sonneman, how do you think Maddie was killed?
At this time, I can only say that the investigation is ongoing and active, so I'm not going to make any comment about that at this time.
If Mr. Fravel does bail out, will he be able to see his children? Can you explain kind of how these things will work together?
Yes, a good question. There's also a family court custody case going on as well, which is, so there's really 3 proceedings. But in the child protection case, there were certain conditions in that case also where Mr. Fravel could have supervised and secure visitation with his children, meaning in a secure site, under observation, basically. If he bails out, the court allowed him to continue to have that supervision under those conditions that were in the child protection case. So that.
Plan on asking that to be revoked, though?
There is a later hearing in the child protection case, and I can't comment at this time on that, but all options are open.
Can you explain why there are 2 separate second-degree murder charges? What is the difference, and how does that play into the
there are two charges, because one is called intentional murder and the other is unintentional murder. And at this time, as I explained, we can't charge first-degree murder, but we can charge those two, and based on...
Okay, so the additional charges could be first-degree murder, it could be moving the body, it could be many other charges, yes. And they talked about a $2 million bond, and that family court custody case is still ongoing. So that's interesting as well. Okay, and yes. The red stiletto, I'm going to quickly answer this. Patreon is completely separate to YouTube membership. So only YouTube members have the highlighted names and the emojis and the badge, because they're completely separate platforms with completely different things happening there. But email me and I will explain it to you, or go to grizzlytruecrime.com, and that should tell you as well. Thank you for your support.
The evidence that we felt we could prove with certainty from our perspective beyond a reasonable doubt, those are the most serious charges we can charge now. The difference between those is that the individual's conduct would be intentional to cause the death of a person. The other is that their actions unintentionally cause the death of the person.
Can you go into detail about the more depth about the difference between intentional and unintentional?
Well, I would refer you to the Minnesota statutes, but
this is the thing. That's what I wanted to mention as well. Yes. Josh Powell, you guys, if he bonds out, okay, sorry, I know you can't really see me over here. If he bonds out, they really need to revoke his visitation rights, because if you remember the Josh Powell case when Susan Powell went missing, yes, he killed himself and the two children and set, by setting the house on fire. That was very hectic, that case. If you've never heard of it, go check it out. Susan Powell, and then what Josh Powell did. So it's actually really dangerous if he is able to. I'm not sure if he would be able to bond out, but I really hope that he can't. And if he does, yeah, visitation rights should be revoked, and they need to keep the children safe. Thank you so much, Alina. You say to you, G, Mr. G, and Fury always. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
It's basically just that a person had the intent to cause the death of another individual and took such actions that were intentional, and the result was that person was killed. Unintentional is just as it really states, that actions were taken and that person didn't really mean to have that, whatever the actions they did, they didn't really want it to result in a death, but it did.
Was Maddie abused? You talk about during the Zoom hearing, your special prosecutor told the judge about Fravel mocking officers, making flippant comments. Could you shed a little bit more light on some of those?
I'm just going to pause this quick. Objection case says, I think she said supervised visitation. No. Yes, but if you look at Josh Powell's case, I mean, he slammed the door in the social worker's case and then killed the kids and himself. Set the house on fire, Whoa. So unfortunately, it's just not enough. They need to keep this guy away from those kids, is what I'm thinking.
I won't go into great detail, but what he was referring to was when as part of the child protection proceeding, the children were, he had the children, and as you can, if you've read the complaint, and please read the complaint because it's very detailed, it'll answer a lot of your questions. But as we put in the complaint, he went and took the children from the daycare and brought them to his parents' house. So at the time the child protection case was initiated, the children were with him in his parents' house in Mabel, Minnesota. And so part of the...
Oh, man. Yeah, and he was really fighting for custody of his children. No, dude. He's innocent until proven guilty, but what he's charged with, you don't get to do that. And then be like, that's it. Taking the children and just continuing on with my life. I don't think so. Thank you so much, Annie. I really appreciate your $10 super sticker.
Child protection case was that Winona County was taking custody of those children, and And so social workers and law enforcement went to secure the children, and that's where some of those behaviors were exhibited by Mr. Fravel.
Was Maddie controlled?
Just a second. She's. Go ahead. You're.
Sure. In the
Yeah.
press conference yesterday, you mentioned digital evidence that helped you locate Maddie's body. Is that the video footage that was outlined in the complaint, or was this something different? And so can you describe a little more as to what you
Well, and I think I didn't say that, Chief Williams did.
Sure, sorry. I see you standing.
Yeah, but at this time, again, I can only say that this is an ongoing and active law enforcement investigation, and we have just started our prosecution. So
There are instances in the complaint that refer to this. Was Maddie controlled and abused during their relationship by Adam Fravel?
again, our case is ongoing as far as law enforcement investigation, and what's in the complaint is what's in the complaint. And again, this is just the beginning of this case, and there's more investigation to do. But there may be additional charges, but again, first-degree murder can only be obtained through a grand jury proceeding.
Well, what happens after July 20th?
It depends on what happens on July 20th. So, okay, so.
Any
Time for a couple more.
you can share?
In the complaint, it mentions that someone matched Adam Fravel's description was messing with license plates on Madeline's van. Can you confirm this was him? And was he switching? What was he doing with the license plate?
As the complaint indicates, we stated it was an individual that was observed changing license plates, and those are the type of issues that we would want to identify if this case goes to trial. So,
Did he go straight to the spot where the body was eventually found, or did he?
Don't leave, okay? If you've already seen this with us, we're just doing a round two just to make sure we hear all the information. Then we're going to look at the maps. We've already looked at the criminal complaint and the probable cause in detail, so I'm not going to go over that again. Go to the beginning of the stream afterwards if you want to see that. We went through every page. So let's just quickly wrap this up. Then we'll look at the maps, and I wanted to show you an example of this Josh Powell case, as to, yeah, they definitely shouldn't let this guy see the kids.
Did he go to the farm first? And there's an unaccounted for 45 minutes, it says.
again, our case and law enforcement is an ongoing investigation. It's still active, and those are issues that I can't comment on now.
Did additional charges come out of Fillmore County in terms of possibly moving the body, concealing it?
I'm sorry, what?
Additional charges in Fillmore County?
Again, this is an ongoing investigation. I'm sorry I keep having to say that, but I don't want to compromise the integrity of either the law enforcement investigation or our prosecution case.
And that is all we have time for today. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
do want to clarify, though, Lou, to your question, it's in the charging document, but the medical examiner's office did rule that the manner of death was homicidal violence. So it is in the charging documents if you have read those. If you haven't, I highly suggest that you do. It adds a lot of context as to why these charges were presented and some more context to the case as well. And just for myself on a personal note, I want to thank you all for being out here. I know for many of you, it's a decent drive to get out here to Winona, and we really appreciate your continued coverage of this case. It has made a really big difference in keeping up the confidence and the spirits of the community as we continue to work through what is a really difficult case and prosecution and ongoing investigation, as we've said. So thank you again so much all for being here.
Yes, thank you all.
Okay, so now we watched the press conference twice, so now we know what's happening there. So there should be a hearing on the 20th. The one thing I missed was what that was for. I think it's for the CPS case, right? It's for the custody. Is it? Okay. I will check on the court sites and everything as well. Angela says, how is anyone supposed to know if their potential partner would do something like this? Do we all just stay single to stay alive? No, from some of the courses I've done, I realize there's some red flags one could look out for. One being love bombing, someone being overly charming, someone trying to isolate you, trying to control you from the get-go, Those are some red flags to look out for and run. Yes, so stay safe, everyone. Okay, let's also, just hold on 1 second, please. I want to take this off. Where did the map go? Like, I literally had everything set up for you, okay? We will do it again. Freaking Google Maps. Mabel, Minnesota. Huh? No. Love bombing is not good. Alina, don't love bomb. Okay. Okay. Mabel, Minnesota. I'm just quickly going to do this so you could see it live. All right. So let's go directions. Yes. And they stayed there. Kerry Drive. And he also turned around in Choice. Okay. So let's do map time. Okay, and we are back. And Objection Cake says, P.S. Just to be clear, I didn't mean I thought he should have supervised visits. Lol, need to make that known. Right? Okay, so if we look at the map here, could actually make myself just a little bit bigger. They lived here on Kerry Drive in Minnesota. Initially, the police were searching this area over here extensively. And then they started going further south. They also actually... when we did map time previously, they were looking in Fillmore County. Wait, we're going to go from there. Fillmore County. Where is it now? It's just this way a little bit. Am I blind? Just wait, I'm going to add it. Fillmore County, Minnesota. There we go. Okay, they were looking like that. So we were speculating maybe he did this drive the first time round. But he ended up going back there with the kids to his parents' house. I'm just going to do a round trip like this. Okay, round trip time. Okay, let's just see. Yes, Van says if you have to bomb someone, bomb them with snacks. That's right, that's right. And so Raul says, so Adam was concerned enough about license plate readers that he changed the plates. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Love bombing is a red flag. It really is a red flag. And someone trying to set the pace of the relationship to go too fast, too fast. It's not a good thing. Go watch Dirty John, you guys, on Netflix, and then you're going to learn all about that. I would recommend that. Or listen to the Dirty John podcast. Very good lessons there. Okay, so they lived there. And remember we read through the probable cause. They say he went down. You remember he loaded the car. Traveled southward. So it doesn't seem like he did this one. Unless he went there later. So maybe we could take Fillmore County out for now. It seems like he just did that. Mm-hmm. And then he went downwards, okay, south, and at Choice, at this area Choice, they said that he turned around. Because he looked in the back of the van and was like, wait a minute, this is not the right stuff to take to storage to my parents' house. Man, I'm going to turn around and go back home. But now, from what we can speculate based on what we know from that probable cause, is that he discarded of her remains here and then went back home, unloaded the car, was at home in the afternoon, then went to fetch his kids at daycare, and then went back to his parents' house after changing the license plates again. Oh, yes. That's it, Tammy. And isolating you from your loved ones or work, etc. Start of control. Yes. Roro, thank you for being a member for 6 months. Okay, so now they said along Highway 43, and it's some barn, right? He turned around here by choice. By choice. At Choice would be a more accurate one. I'm not sure exactly which gravel road. You see, I haven't seen any specifics about where, but really not far from there. I mean, it could be anywhere here. I'm not too sure if it's at the end here or where. Does anyone actually know? I know on Twitter I've seen a few speculations there. So just hold on 1 second. Madeline Kingsbury. Let's just see if there is a map that somebody has shared here. And I just want to check in the chat if anyone knows. But somewhere close to here, he stopped for a bit and then went on again. And they were searching. They already searched that area where her body was found. But they said it was concealed. So that they didn't see it there. Either the first time or he moved the body, that we don't know. But yeah, he literally... So he went from home. Okay. He went from home. Probably after murdering her, yes. Drove with her body in her van. From what we can deduce from the probable cause. southward towards his parents' house. His parents live here in Mabel. And then a choice. He's like, whoops, let me turn around. Went back home. So he stopped for a bit. He stopped somewhere near a barn, okay, and dropped off a body, concealed it, and went back home. And then later picked up the kids and went to his parents' house. Yes. Yeah, so Western Tina, welcome. Nice to see you. You say, or the body was moved. Yes, or the body was moved. Okay, so I think you guys, are you asking about Josh Powell? That's true. Crafty Chris says he's a piece of work. He's robbed his youngest of any memories of their mother and now has removed both parents from them. Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. I'm just quickly going to go. I know there was a map earlier. There's gravel road somewhere here. Just hold on. Not that we have to know exactly where. And you guys saw yesterday, right? That Adam was busy chasing people away, like hunting them down if they're looking for her. Which is so weird as well. Where? Where was he doing that? If you'd missed that, it's right here. Look, Adam Fravel chasing us down while searching for Madeline. You could feel the evil. Wow. Yes, Lipecia transport vibes. So, yes. I'm very curious. I might have to have a look later. Which barn, where, you know? It was on a property that was unoccupied, but where the family, some of the Fravel family members had done some maintenance work before. So he knew of the property. He'd probably worked on there before, you know? Anyway, so that's what we have so far. Then, yes, for you guys that, I just see emails coming in. If you're asking about Koberger, I'm very aware that Brian Koberger, there's 2 hearings happening today for the gag order and the no cameras in courtroom motion is filed. So when there's updates and when we can see footage, we'll look at that too. So make sure that you are subscribed, hit the bell to all. It might be a good idea because YouTube's making many changes to unsubscribe and resubscribe and put the bell back on to all so you don't miss notifications. Or you can go to Patreon where you always get the notifications. All right, so now what I want to show you quickly before we finish here is this. Josh Powell. Oh, sorry, that's so... Got to put on dark mode again soon. I just want to show you this as an example of why this guy needs to stay away from the kids. Because if he was so set on he's not going to lose the kids, he's not even going to fight for custody, and to think I'm just going to pack in the kids and we're going to my parents' place and we're just going to stay there. Well, then, you know, this type of mentality is a risk, right? So Josh Powell's final message: I'm not able to live without my sons. On February 7th, 2012, as investigators pore over the gutted Washington state home of Josh Powell for evidence explaining how and why he murdered his 2 sons and killed himself in a gas explosion, ABC News has exclusively obtained what's believed to be his final words to his loved ones. Powell left a voicemail for his family just 20 minutes before attacking his 2 young boys, Braden, 5, and Charles, 7, with a hatchet and igniting a gas leak that blew up his house on Sunday afternoon. And his message was, I'm not able to live without my sons. I'm not able to go on anymore. I'm sorry to everyone I've hurt. Goodbye, the voicemail message said. Magnetic Janet says, so sad for Maddie's family. Glad she was found. I'm glad she was found. They really needed to find her and they've been working so hard to, so I'm really glad she was found after 69 days. But it is so sad, yes, indeed. So they say many are now looking at the tumultuous relationship that Josh Powell had with his father, Stephen Powell, whose September arrest led to charges of 14 counts of voyeurism and 1 count of CP. I wish they wouldn't call it CP, it's CSAM. Okay, that's like really a pet peeve. CSA material, CSAM, okay? So, yeah, let's not go over the whole story, but the point is that this dude was like, nope. After Susan Powell went missing, he's like, that's it. I can't go on without my boys. I'm done. So that's dangerous. Okay, so we've got that. Now, let's take that off. It's too bright for us. All right. Elway says, I can't live without them, but hack them with a hatchet? I love my dog more than life and would rather give her up than harm her. Yes. It's very dangerous. Okay, so before I go, let's quickly just check the latest that we can see here with Madeline Kingsbury's hashtag. Just wait 1 second. Let's have a look here. Twitter, if you don't follow me on Twitter, my handle is True Crime Gizzler. Yes, at True Crime Gizzler. And so if you follow me there, that's really where all the breaking news is. If you want to know something pretty much the quickest, it's usually there. Tip, if you're not there, right? What are we saying? I'm just looking at what you guys are saying. Yes. A. Heinemann says the visits are not for him. They're for the children who may benefit from continuing the relationship via video, though. Yeah, as long as... we're talking about if he bails out, right? He's got a $2 million bond. Bail is set at $1 million, so yeah. Okay, so murder charges. Ex-partner allegedly abused, threatened Madeline Kingsbury. It's a DV case, you guys. It's another DV case. There's so many of these. It's really sad. And we went through this as well, that Matt Black Ink, MB Ink on YouTube shared. And we looked at everything. Okay, so I think we're pretty much up to speed on this case now. So thank you so much for watching. I will now be keeping an eye on what's happening with Koberger, and if they do, I don't know if they're releasing any footage or anything today. If they do, and it's interesting, we'll go live. And members, we'll have another member stream again soon. And if you're on Patreon, I did share some pictures today from Mr. Grizzly's trip to Japan and pictures of Fury and things like that, and the document that we went through today as well. So, yes. Okay, thank you to everyone who on Twitter shared the stream. I really appreciate it. We've got 24,000 Grizzlies on Twitter now, in the Grizzly community, following me, right? So we all interact on there quite a bit. So come and join us over there. They do not have the death penalty. They abolished the death penalty in, I think it was 1911 in Minnesota. So they don't have that. And if you want to check out the statutes that they've listed, check that out from yesterday's stream, because we went over that as well. Okay. So thank you so much, everyone. I think, as I say, we've covered everything. And I never want to go. Don't go. If you are a member, you know about our special outro. We have a special outro for members only streams. So if you only joined today, check out one of the previous streams, like one of the last 3 streams. Check out the outro. Okay, I made it just for you guys. So, but I might see you later, as I say, with Koberger stuff. So until then, have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful Friday, whatever time it is for you. For me, it's Friday night, 9:41 p.m. So we shall see what else happens today. All right, everyone, stay safe, and thank you for your support. I'm not 2 pences Billy. Yes. Okay. Bye, everyone. Thank you, mods.